Thank you for taking the time for reviewing this video. Today we're going to be discussing the growth in credentials and badging and various ways to engage particularly any learner, but especially the adult learner in pursuing different ways to demonstrate different skills, abilities, and how it differs from how traditional education is currently being taught. So firstly, what is a micro-credential? Bloomberg.com describes micro-credentials as a form of micro-certification earned by proving competence in one specific skill at a time. So basically, instead of someone taking a 3-hour course at a university and the title is just accounting one, well, anybody can basically take accounting and finish with a grade. However, there's a good possibility that they don't actually understand accounting. However, with something similar to a micro credential, you can basically say, okay, I definitely have shown an understanding of depreciation. I have definitely understood and shown that I understand FIFO versus LIFO. Um, Micro credentials are great because instead of basically saying, oh, well, I have a bachelor's of business administration, you can take the time to actually demonstrate what components of a bachelor's in business administration would teach someone, which is growing more and more prevalent in job hiring, especially with human resources, specifically looking at different micro credentials that would be pertinent to a job. So what are the benefits of micro credentials? Basically, someone can be encouraged to continuously be active in pursuing badges or awards. So basically, if they're looking to um, continuously grow in whatever skills they're trying to learn, they may be motivated by badges or different levels because it shows that they have a certain type of achievement being made or a goal being made. Secondly, it allows the learner to understand where they need to improve and actively track their progress. So many micro-credential programs actually have the ability to tell you where you shortfall, where you may want to practice more. So for example, let's say someone is trying to get a certification in a SQL language and they keep messing up within a certain micro-credential program on a certain part. That program may elaborate on a certain particular piece of knowledge that they need to basically pursue in understanding more so that way they can grow in the specific skill. Another thing is that learners will be driven to dedicate more time to the course by achieving certain benchmarks. So that basically relates to the first part, which is pursuing badges or rewards, especially with how much the average person is on the move and on the go. Sometimes they don't want to necessarily feel as though they're committing more time to work. So that's really one good benefit of a micro credential because they're basically able to take a bite-sized piece of a certain knowledge and take it at their own pace. So that would allow them to feel motivated to continuously be dedicated in learning versus feeling as though they're under a time clock. And so while gamification is a separate concept from micro-credentialing, they're basically related because research is finding more and more that gamification, which is basically making work not feel like work, and combining that with a micro-credential program is definitely beneficial, especially, as I said before, with someone like an adult learner who feels as though they're overworked, they don't want to work, they already have many things to do. This wouldn't necessarily feel like an extra thing to do. It will more or less feel like a game, a hobby, or something that they will most likely dedicate more time to outside of their job or schoolwork. And so we're going to take time to explore an excellent example of a micro-credentialing program and gamification all in one, which is Duolingo. And I have my own personal account to use as an example. So basically, Duolingo is a program that allows you to, at your own pace, learn a many different variety of languages. And so far, I'm using the free version, and basically, I'm using this to learn Spanish. And so, as you can see here, I have an introduction and a few basic elements here as far as pursuing getting crowns. That'll show my I guess, achievement so far. But as you go on, you can see that you can unlock various levels. And that is definitely a motivator, especially because it doesn't feel as though I'm doing work. I'm actually just, to me, just playing a game, but learning Spanish at the same time. And as you can see here, this goes back to dedicating more time to learning something. You can see that you have a streak. So as you can see here, I've been playing daily for 5 days straight. Once I made it up to 30 days. And that kind of motivates me to do something every day because I get notifications, I get alerts telling me, hey, you don't want to lose your streak. You might want to get back on it. So this can also be used to demonstrate your English proficiency, which actually currently Houston Baptist University, utilizes for incoming students on some level. So this is a great example of a micro-credential and a example of gamification, because as you look at this, this doesn't feel necessarily as if I'm being evaluated, but as you go through, you can see that
Ella es una niña.
it asks you questions. It wants you to understand what exactly you're doing. And if I get this wrong, it tells me here. And it keeps track of that, which is very good. And once I get to the end of the lesson, it tells me, or basically it runs through what I missed. So this is an excellent example of gamification and micro-credentialing, because as you can see, there's a gaming board that would also motivate someone outside of work to continuously try to do better. And so here are some additional resources if you want to go more in depth about learning about micro-credentials and badging. But basically, a micro-credential is just taking apart a larger picture and allowing it to be bite-sized for the learner. That way they don't feel pressured into a time frame. They don't feel limited in what they can do. It can basically feel like a game instead of just being more work. Thank you for taking the time to watch my video.